I'm going to shoot a short video on changing oil on a 2022 Commander 700. I picked up this oil change kit at my local dealership, and one thing I didn't notice once I got home and read the box, it says for all twin cylinder Rotax engines. Since this is one of the few single cylinder engines in the Can-Ams, even the people in the service department, I asked them, so this work with my machine? They're like, yeah, you're good to go. The only difference I noticed was when I got home and got ready to change it, I pulled the oil out of the box, and it had 2 full quarts in it and like a half a quart in there. Real small bottle was in there as well. When I looked at the specs in the owner's manual on how much oil it holds, it was basically 2.85 quarts, which what's in the box technically is less than that. But what I learned while changing it, I drained the oil, and I'll just go through the procedure and talk a little bit more about the filling up as I go. I know a lot of you are wondering why all my videos are just shot in my shed. I'm busy. If I would have videoed me actually changing the oil, it probably would have took an hour and a half for a 20-minute job. I had a buddy over. I had this TV outside under the carport. We were watching some side-by-side videos. My dogs were out. I'd have to occasionally go inside, answer a phone call, just a lot going on. So I've watched some how-to videos, and honestly, I fast forward to the good stuff. So I'm going to tell you what I did during the oil change, and I also cleaned the air filter. I'll give you a few tips on that as well, and we'll go from there. So to drain the oil, it was a 17 millimeter socket. I used the short extension. It's right up underneath there. You'll see one of the holes. Real easy to get off. One thing, I knew there was supposed to be a washer on the drain plug because one came in the kit. At first I thought, well, maybe they forgot to put it on from the factory. It's an aluminum washer. It was actually still up inside of there. So make sure you dig that out, otherwise you're going to end up with 2 of them in there and you're not going to get a good seal. You're going to leak oil more than likely. So make sure you get that washer out of there. So first thing I did, pulled the drain plug. While that was draining, I took off the oil filter. You can see it right in there. I didn't use the Torx to get that off of there. You could use a bigger Torx bit, but I actually used an 8 millimeter socket to get those 3 off of there. Came off really easy. I got that off of there, pulled the filter out while that was still all draining, cleaned the top of it off really well, there's a gasket that came in the kit that goes on the oil filter cap. I replaced that, replaced the washer on the drain plug, cleaned that off really well. What I did notice when I went to put back in the new filter, you could see oil inside where you put the new filter in. My friend was here. He's a motorcycle mechanic. And I asked him, I said, well, all the oil didn't drain out. And he said, well, that's oil in there is on the other side of the oil pump. The only way to get that out of there would be if I wanted to cycle the engine and get that through there. The oil was clean. I didn't want to mess with that. So I just put the filter back in. I put the drain plug back in. I used a long I have a long funnel, which worked great. Some machines take oil very slow. You got to dump it in really slow. This did not. I was able just to dump it in. It all drained in. I used what was in the kit. Started the engine, let it warm up a bit, shut it off, checked it. I was at the full mark. I mean, right at the top. I'm really, really happy with the level that I had. The reason it was full, even though what was in the kit was less than what the specs sheet said, it's because of probably everything didn't drain out, and then I had the oil on this side of the oil pump where the filter is, but it was fine. It looked great. There was no shavings or anything on the drain plug. Yeah, I had them listen to the engine. No valve noise, and I'm at 27 hours, 337 miles, and a lot of those miles are hard miles. Hatfield-McCoy Trail is 200 miles in a couple days. I ran the machine pretty hard. I've done some wide open tests with this machine. Probably didn't break it in properly. That's just a decision that I made when I got this machine. Had some things I wanted to do early on with it, and just didn't allow me probably to break it in according to the operator's manual. Different dealers will tell you different things. Some people say break it in like you're going to ride it. Some say you have to break it in this way if you want it to run right. But I've noticed zero issues. I would say probably the only possible damage I could have done. Just my first CVT transmission, belt driven. I didn't know anything about belt break-in. That's probably just as important, if not more important, than engine break-in. But I still have not noticed any slippage or anything along those lines. The new P-Drive clutch system in these seems really good. Since I haven't noticed any issues, I asked my friend if I should pull the cover off and inspect it. He said, if you haven't noticed any issues, you're probably good. So I'm not going to mess with it because I know what would happen. I pull it off. If I see any hint of wear, I'm ordering a new belt. Really don't want to spend the money on that now, and I probably don't need it. So I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going riding in a couple weeks. After I did get back from Hatfield-McCoy, I cleaned this up pretty good. It's still hard to get. There's so many places that hide dirt on these things. Up in here in the fenders. I cleaned it and cleaned it and cleaned it. Then I go to change the oil. I'm like, man, this engine is still filthy. So I cleaned it a little bit more, wiped everything off before I pulled any of the plugs or the filter. I made sure that I had it pretty clean in those areas because I did not want to get any dirt in the engine. So I filled it up. I've ran it a little bit since then, checked it, made sure there's no leaks. At the drain plug or at the filter. This does have a paper canister style air filter. It's right behind here. You pull this cover off, 3 quick clips. You can see them in there. I'm not going to pull them off. There's one of the clips right there. There's 3 of those. Comes right out. One thing my friend did tell me, the inside of where the air filter goes, if there's any dust or dirt in there and you want to blow it with compressed air, to do it with the filter on, if you pull the filter off and clean that area, anything that you loosen up or if you blow around in there with the air filter off is going straight in the engine. So if you're going to use compressed air to clean out the area where the air filter goes, do it prior to pulling the filter. Once you get the filter out, about the only way to clean a paper filter is with compressed air. Mine was not that dirty after 337 miles, a lot of it on trails. Wasn't that dirty. If you're going to use compressed air, blow it from the inside out. If you do it the other way, you're just blowing dirt into the filter area. First time you start it, the engine's going to suck all that right in. Just a couple of small tips. Wish I did a little bit better videos. I apologize for not having any of this machine in action. I was hoping to get some last Sunday when I hit the trails. I was going to have my buddy do some filming. Well, if I drive this machine the way I want to drive it and the way I want to show how it performs, I could barely keep him to stay in it. I think he wanted out. I don't feel I was over pushing the machine or myself or him too hard. But he was like, "You're going to kill me. Slow down." This is what he did. He grabbed this handle and was watching out for trees. I don't want to hurt this machine. I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt anybody else. I feel I was completely in control. I know the capabilities of this machine. And it's nice to be able to romp on it and not have to worry about it getting away from you. The 700 has just the right amount of power for me and the way I like to ride it. There was a Yamaha Y, is it ZX, XZ, YZX? YXZ, I'm not sure. The guy had the $2,500 exhaust, $1 million stereo. He would take it and open it up a little bit, slow down. One of the first things my buddy said, that there's no way, he did not think that machine could keep up with me on the trails. It was a little bit bigger on the tighter stuff. I mean, when I had a chance to open this up, I did. It doesn't throw you back in the seat. You can't really even get it to kick sideways in the corners that aren't really, really loose. I think a lot of that is these XPS tires the K&M's now putting on. I think if I had something a little less aggressive, like a Terabyte or something along those lines, I would be able to get a little bit sideways. But I like the traction. It's good for climbing. They clean out well, which I like. I had Terabytes on a previous machine, and they were good for road riding, good for light trail. You get in any mud, especially with a machine that just doesn't crank huge RPMs. They're not cleaning out. And then it's getting slick. And then you're sliding, trying to go up basic stuff, creek beds and things like that. So that's what I got going on. I am going to Turkey Bay Off-Road Park in a couple weeks. I'm going with a friend who says he does not really like being a passenger. I said, that's fine. I'll let you drive. But you better drive this thing like you stole it. So hopefully I can get some video of him driving it fairly aggressively. He's got some racing background. He's raced late model stock cars, things along those lines. So I hope he drives it like a race car. I would have a sportier machine. I did look at a Maverick Sport XRC. Had the nice beefed up suspension, 30-inch tires. I liked it, don't get me wrong. Maybe if they made one of these in an XRC, I would go to 1,000, but I don't need anything more. I got this thing the way I like it. I really, really like the way this thing looks. Wasn't a fan of the green, but the DPS, that's the only color option. They didn't have an XT sitting there. But now I got a one-of-a-kind machine. I don't have an XT. Everybody's got the same roof on an XT, which definitely not this one. Everybody's got the same winch on the XT. I think that's the main things. And everybody's XT is blue. So what I have here, I think the XT1000 has arched A arms. I'm not sure about the 700. I've heard they do not. I don't believe it does. So really, I got every feature the XT has on this, I think, except maybe there is something a little bit different going on the dash. There may be some different things, but I'm happy with this machine. I got it the way I want. I got the tablet holder. I got the Can-Am mirror. I've got my own little speaker. I don't need a jamming sound system. The back window looks cool. They do have this one. Somebody said they had a vented tinted rear window. That sounds kind of neat. Maybe upgrade to the tinted roof sometimes. I kind of like this one. I ruined it already. Didn't ruin it, but I ripped it up a little bit. You can see in my shed here, I got that panel cut out. That was for my Honda Pioneer. Wouldn't fit in here. When I got this machine, I pulled it in the first time. I'm like, all right, that's good. I put this roof on a little bit higher. I'm like, all right, cool, it clears. I don't have to pull this panel out. Well, somebody got XT wheels for this thing, inch bigger. Guess what happened? Not paying attention, backing this thing out, didn't pull the panel, caught the roof. So you can see underneath there, scratched up a little bit, caught right there, bent this thing up. Not too bad. I kind of bent it back in place. It's not perfect. Don't really care. Drilled a couple holes in it and put these lights on. You know, this thing's not going to stay perfect. I understand that. You can't hardly see because I gave this thing an SC1 bath. I scratched up this panel. Door's a little scratched up, but hey, it's an off-road machine. I like to abuse it a little bit, and I also like to clean it. Maybe not as much as I had to clean it last time. After Hatfield McCoy, I cleaned it some and then went to a local riding park and got it even muddier. This Illinois mud, I guess it's clay, doesn't want to come off this thing. I need to find out the best way to clean these. I'm not a real big fan of just taking the pressure washer and spraying everything off on the inside, but I kind of did it from a distance and then wiped it off by hand. Got the seats really clean. They were dirty. I wondered how they would come clean. Definitely don't want to sit there and hold a pressure washer on these too long, but I think I got it pretty clean for my next ride. I'll let you guys know about Turkey Bay Off-Road Park. If any of you have been there, please put it in the comments. I'll answer any and all questions and comments. If there's things you want to know about the machine, just ask. Join my Can-Am Commander 700 Facebook group. I just want to learn more about these machines and how people ride them. People are starting to talk about a clutch upgrade. I don't think it's the same clutch as the 1000. I believe the P drive is only in the 7 and 900. There's another guy who's done a little bit more research on that than me. But really, unless you're going to go with bigger tires, I'm not sure a clutch is necessary. And there are a few people out there that have already put 30s on it. So I really like this machine. I was at the dealership yesterday looking at different ones. I like this one. I like the way you sit in it. Even some of the bigger machines aren't as comfortable. You sit low in this thing, people aren't always a fan. Kind of sits more like the X3 looks. You sit down in it. So it's probably the sportiest riding of anything with a dump bed. The 1000 isn't as fast as the General, isn't as fast as the R-Max, but does have the biggest dump bed. Great trail machine. I think the power is more manageable in either one. But my yard is calling my name. It's rained here for the last day and a half, and over the last couple of weeks, a lot of rain. I need to get this grass cut. So I'm going to wrap this video. I'm going to wrap up this 5-minute video I was going to shoot. All right, enjoy your days. All your days, especially today. Safe travels. Get some seat time. Get yourself one of these machines and just start enjoying it. Thanks.